You're listening to the Viewfinders podcast from FrameRate. Well, we're here with Doug Schwab from Maverick Entertainment. Doug, what is Maverick Entertainment?
Maverick Entertainment is one of the world leaders in distributing Black cinema, and we've been around for 28 years, formed in 1997. Over that time, we put out nearly 2,000 plus movies, and we do about 150 movies a year, a large portion of those movies being productions, and the rest being licensing agreement.
Excellent. So, how has the transition to digital technology allowed fresh voices in film, and I think specifically Black cinema, since that's what you're the expert in?
Well, we've seen everything come and go being around 28 years. Obviously, when we started, our business was VHS and then DVD, and then the early days of digital where it was there, but people didn't adopt the formats yet. So you would put projects on platforms that are no longer around anymore, which were kind of the forefathers of the digital world. And you thought like you'd just sit there and money would come in and activity would be there. But it was a long time for people to give up the DVDs or the VHSs until they fully adapted to digital streaming. Over that period of time, we saw growth, with the first significant growth being Amazon for us. And then obviously after Amazon peaked, they would pay a decent amount of money back then, and continuously their rates would go down, as every content distributor can tell you. And then after Amazon, the big opportunity was Tubi. And when Tubi started, our producers didn't even know what Tubi was. We had to sell the concept, and we helped them get started with their Black cinema labels. There's always been one leader in every sector of the industry over the years. And back in the physical days of rental, it was Blockbuster, and then it was Redbox. And obviously in the goods to take home, the brick and mortar business, Walmart dominated that space. And now we're noticing a plethora of streaming platforms, and they all can't survive. So we're seeing some drop off now where some platforms are maybe going to be bought out, sold, or fold. At the end of the day, we'll have 5 to 8 strong platforms standing, and a lot of the others may fall by the wayside.
That's definitely been our experience being in the business also for about the same amount of time. As you know, FrameRate Technologies provides content into a lot of very niche audiences like corrections. And our entire goal is to be found money for a lot of providers like you guys, where we're bringing dollars that didn't even exist before. And a lot of that is through technology. What was your take on that? With getting technology in the hands of inmates in these really niche places. What was your reaction to that?
Well, the crazy thing is, I didn't think it was a far-fetched idea. I thought it was a solid idea, because for many years now, we've been getting letters from inmates across the country that wanted to see our films or saw our films somehow, or knew of our films before they were in corrections, and actively asking us to send a movie to them or send a movie to a relative, or what we could do. So we knew we had a very large audience in that sector. And we didn't ask any questions as to how the movies were being seen, how they knew of the movies, but we did have a very, very strong rapport, getting letters back and forth, that people were very aware of our brand. So Maverick Black Cinema is a brand nationally. It's also a brand within that community as well.
And how have new platforms like you've been talking about that have just come up? And I think FAST and AVOD really, for the most part, has really been a prolific sort of growth. How do you see that affecting the voices of Black cinema filmmakers?
Well, what we found out with FAST is, and this might not be the right terminology, but we notice it's almost like an easy or a lazy way to people to watch something. Sometimes people don't want to seek out a movie or wait for a start time or start it. They just flipping through channels, and they stop and they gaze upon that channel for a while, and they might park there for 1, 2, 3, or 4 movies. As opposed to when somebody watches one particular movie, maybe they have one movie per sitting and they're on to something else. But it seems that the fast channels are keeping them there longer. So I think it gives an opportunity, as almost like a subscriber feel to it, where you have a BET, or if you have an All Black, or you have a Maverick Black Cinema, these various different channels you can subscribe to. But then you're getting 24-hour a day, 365-day a year content that's just flowing. It gives an opportunity to films that maybe somebody wouldn't click on particularly or search out, but then they'll watch it. And if they watched it from the middle of the movie, then they'll seek it out and watch the entire movie if it was of interest.
Excellent point. I know everyone is talking nonstop about AI, especially in our business. You might share the opinion I have, which is innovation in our industry doesn't come from Hollywood. It comes from independent filmmakers. It comes from the grittier, scrappier filmmaker and distributors. So, how do you see AI either empowering or working against filmmakers in this space? What's your prediction on that?
AI is kind of a touchy subject. First off, I don't really understand it all that well. I know there's good with AI and I know there's bad with AI. The one thing I think we can say is that right now we're sitting on the sidelines and learning about it. We don't really see AI as something as eliminating our filmmakers or our partners because we want stories told that are based on reality, based on real life experiences, based on results that they've seen in life. If there's some way that AI can enhance a delivery of a film, improve the sound of a film, maybe improve the look, or even help with artwork in some element, that might be the first frontier that we explore. But in terms of having AI write an entire script or AI create characters and not provide those opportunities to, the Black creatives, both in front and behind the camera, that would probably not be of interest to us at this time.
Yeah, no doubt. We've talked about this a lot internally and publicly about the human touch. Cinema ultimately connects on an emotional human level. It'll be a long time before that has that sort of impact everyone's freaking out about. It's a tool. What do you see is the future of Black cinema? You've been there from the very beginning. So where do you see it going?
Well, first off, yes, I've been there from the very beginning. And when we started this back in 1997, a lot of what I call the traditional gatekeepers didn't see a future in it. They didn't understand it because they would just see over a calendar year, the major studios releasing a Tyler Perry movie here, a Denzel Washington movie there, a Wesley Snipes movie here, thinking that that would satisfy that audience and that demand. I knew that there was a voracious appetite for this underserved audience just from where I grew up in New Orleans, which is a melting pot type of city. I knew that there was an endless need for this product. We have Caucasian audience. We have a Hispanic audience. We obviously have a Black audience. People of color watch our films, and I don't see it slowing down. I see it as being kind of the future, and that demographic is growing, and the need for content, it's an insatiable need that we've experienced over our almost 3 decades of being around. And I don't see it changing. I only see it growing.
Well, I appreciate, Doug, your input and I appreciate your insights. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
This has been the Viewfinders podcast from FrameRate. Thanks for listening.